Good morning, Kasturians, and welcome to video 3 of chapter 6 Civics, Marginalization and Social Justice. In this video, we will discuss about minorities and other social groups who are also marginalized, that is, the women and children. So, let's start. Minorities are not clearly defined in detail in our constitution. When we talk about minorities, we always consider only the religious and linguistic minorities. According to the census, that is the population statistics or data of India, we have 20.2% of the minorities. According to the constitution, 5 religious communities they have been identified and declared as minority, which include the Muslims, Sikhs, Parsis, Christians and Buddhists. Some special rights have been granted to these minorities by our constitution, which are Article 29(1), Article 29(2), Article 30, Article 350A and Article 350B. Article 29(1) states that all citizens have the right to conserve their languages, scripts or cultures. Article 29(2) it states or announces that no citizen can be denied admission to any government or government aided educational institutions on the basis of caste, religion, race, etc. According to Article 30, all religious and linguistic minorities can establish and administer educational institutions of their children. According to Article 350A, the state will make provisions for the facilities to impart instructions in their vernacular tongue or mother tongue at primary stage. According to Article 350, all the citizens they shall make provisions for a special officer for linguistic minorities. Now we will study about other marginalized groups. In that we have women. Ours is a male dominated society from ancient times, and the same policy or same ideas they are propagated into our modern generation, and that's why we can see the gender discrimination, domestic violence. These are not new terms for the Indian women. In fact, they were already aware, and basically the women they were not given equal education facilities, and they were not allowed to participate in public life. They used to enjoy equal status, but that was during the Vedic time. But in the modern time, women they are discriminated, although the government has tried its best to help the women overcome this situation. Some of the social evils were well taken care of by social reformers like Rajaram Mohan Roy, Ishwar Chandra Vidyasagar, Jyotiba Phule and Sister Nivedita. The main steps which were taken by the government for upliftment of women include the custom of polygamy was declared illegal. The Hindu Marriage Act of 1953 was amended, and according to this, the custom of polygamy was declared illegal. Also, various laws have been passed to grant daughters the same right of inheritance as the sons were getting. Also, since we are talking about the Britishers and the Indians, and we just did the reformation of Hindu Muslim Act, according to that, although schools were opened and attempts were made to give the names of school going women or school going girls, and especially the schools they were open for girls, and now government is trying its best to give the same opportunities to the girls as they are equally available for the boys. We have Article 15(3) that directs the state to make special provisions for women and children. Also, the directive principles of state policy. Under these directive principles, many directives have been laid down, which are like Article 39A. It states that both men and women they have the right to adequate means of livelihood. According to Article 39D, both men and women they shall get equal pay for equal work. According to Article 42, the state shall make provisions for just and human conditions of work and for maternity leave. Also, according to Article 243D, in every panchayat, at least one third of the seats they have to be reserved for SC and ST women only. Also, according to Article 243D(4), one third of the total number of offices of chairperson in panchayats at each level they are reserved for women. Now we will discuss about children. As we know, they are an important section of our population, and hence it is important for them to receive proper care. Only a very small percentage of children they receive proper care, and large number of these children they suffer from starvation and disease, and they start living in unhygienic conditions. So we have witnessed that these children they have to work in the factories, or they have to work at some petty shops where the working hours they are so long and they are paid much less wages that they cannot supplement their family income with those wages. So for the development of children, the government has made different steps. Government has taken different steps. One such is the Child Labor Prohibition and Regulation Act 2006, according to which the children, whatever occupation it is, if they are below 14 years of age, they cannot be employed, and the any type of work to be done by an to be done by the people towards a child who is less than 14 years, so this is totally prohibited. And the government has set up many schools where free education is provided to the girl child, also to ensure good health and to ensure that the girl students they get quality and equal opportunities as boys. Also, health centers they have been set up in rural areas to give free immunization to infants. International organizations like the UN, they also show their concern about the children, and that's why the rights of children have been recognized by the United Nations. International agencies like UNICEF and the UNESCO, they work for betterment of children all over the world. Also, integrated child development scheme has been launched to improve the conditions of children in India. Yeah, when we talk about social inequality, it refers to an inequality which persists among the society, that is, the deprived sections of the society they face social and economic discrimination. Also, wealth, as we know, it remained in the hands of a few people, few upper caste people. Therefore, social inequality in terms of money and in terms of other opportunities as provided by the government. Then we have reservation. Actually, reservation it refers to keeping a specified number of seats reserved for particular or specific people belonging to any community or belonging to different social groups. So reservation, it this word it first came into limelight in 1953 when Kaka Kelkar Commission it classified 2399 castes in India as backward castes. So for upliftment of such castes, a certain percentage of seats it was kept exclusively by the government, and it is made applicable in various government jobs and educational institutions. Also, the scheduled caste and scheduled tribes and OBCs they were given representation in the government, and this is called reservation. Also, following the demands of reservation, the Mandal Commission was set up in 1979, and who was the head of this commission? It was B.P. Mandal, who started examining the issue of reservation and quota for upliftment of the backward classes, other than scheduled castes and scheduled tribes. Why? Because the two have already so many privileges have been announced. So the commission it recommended 27% reservation for the OBCs. That's all we have in this video. Thank you and have a nice day.